What's up, guys? Welcome back to the dojo. Welcome back to the channel. This is Michael, and so there are those rare times, I'm sure you guys know, when you're watching anime and maybe you're waiting for the next episode, or maybe you've finished up all the anime that you were gonna watch, and so you're deciding, like, what else am I gonna watch, right? Well, that was me last week, and I had basically finished up the anime. Um, I'm all caught up right now with Apothecary Diaries, and the normal anime that I watched on the weekends is, well, one of them wrapped up on Sunday, which I will talk about in another video because I really think you guys will enjoy it. But I want to talk about one that I kind of dismissed. Now, granted, I remember watching the first kind of like I can't remember if it was the first two or the first three episodes of this anime, but I remember watching it, and I remember I wasn't, really enthusiastic about it. It looked kind of dumb. A friend of mine watched it, he liked it, and everything like that. So I happened to be on YouTube, and I saw this video because there are probably, if you don't know, but there are some channels out there that will they'll actually show the anime, and they'll just do like, especially like if it's like a 12 episode anime or 13 episode anime or whatever, but they'll do like 4 hours of where they just show the episodes, right? And that's what happened to me with this particular anime that we're going to talk about today. The anime that we're talking about today is The Faraway Paladin. Now, I have some thoughts, okay? So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, let's talk about it. The Faraway Paladin is about this boy named Will. We meet him when he's a little boy, and he's being raised by probably the most three unlikely people that you could ever think could raise a kid. Now, to be fair, if I'm not mistaken, the Faraway Paladin is indeed kind of an isekai, but it's not one like the isekai that you guys probably know. So it's not like jobless reincarnation. It's not after the end. It's, where you can hear their original voices over the new ones, if you get what I'm saying. So this one is about Will. In his former life, he was kind of a shut-in. He didn't like to do much. He basically tried to stay out of everybody's way, and he didn't make the most of life until kind of like finally when he did, and he finally got out there and stuff like that, he realized that it was too late. Excuse me. So he is reincarnated into this world of fantasy and magic and, everything that an isekai is that you're used to. All right. So he's raised by, like I said, the most unlikely three people that you'd ever want to meet. One is a ghost named Gus, or Augustus. He was known as the Great Wandering Mage. Next, we have Mary. She is a priestess, a healer, and she's also a mummy. The next is named Blood. He is a skeleton. He's an undead, and more importantly, he was a warrior in his former life. And these three take it upon themselves to raise this boy because when they find him in this temple, which they have been charged with protecting. And essentially, we don't know his parents. We don't know, like, to us, he's an orphan. And so these three undead technically take it upon themselves to raise him. I mean, of course, in the beginning, Gus has kind of an issue with that, but at the same time, he eventually comes to, you know, teach him. And here's the thing, they all have their unique roles to play with raising Will. Blood teaches him combat skills and strategies. Mary Mary is like a mother to him, so she teaches him good manners. She, you know, teaches him how to do his chores. She, feeds, she cooks, and all that stuff, right? Gives him encouraging wisdom. And then there's Gus, or Augustus, however you want to name him, who is kind of like his school teacher, right? Who teaches him history, math, arithmetic, or I'm sorry, yeah, math, arithmetic, writing, the whole 9 yards, right? And even teaches him magic, right? And they teach him for about 15 years, because in this world, when you turn 15, you're basically an adult, right? So it's revealed throughout the series that Blood, Mary, and Gus were adventurers, and that 200 years ago, a demon king known as the High King was basically so powerful that none of the other gods could stop him. In fact, it even caused a war between the gods, where some virtuous gods, which were good, actually turned against the other gods for their own interests, and da 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 da. It's complicated, even for me. But either way, we learned that Blood, Mary, and Augustus chose to break their bonds with the gods that they once worshipped. Why? In order to not only save their comrades and themselves, who were going to die, but also because they couldn't stop the Demon King. He was so powerful that the only thing that they could do was seal him away. So, in order to make sure that he stayed sealed and stayed asleep, the three chose to give up their lives, to become undead, and to stay at this temple where they raised Will, to protect the very spot, to protect the very city of where the Demon King slept. It's also revealed that when Will turns 15 and it's time for him to strike out on his own, the conditions of the deal that they made with the god of death are basically this. You will stay here as the undead and keep watch over this temple to make sure that the Demon King is never released. However, should you lose your attachment to the Demon King, which means quite frankly, like, if you not lose your way, but basically if you find something else to attach yourself besides the complete destruction of the Demon King, then I take your souls and you join my undead army. Right? And at first they were okay with that until they met Will. And they wanted to stay with him, but it's a story. Either way, Will grows up, he becomes a warrior priest. He meets a bunch of different other characters, a bunch of different friends, one being his best friends named Meadow, who Meadow is a half-elf and can use fey magic. What is fey magic? Well, you guys are familiar with fairies and gnomes and spirits and stuff like that, right? That's fey magic. He is able to tap into the wind spirits and use them. He's able to tap into to the underground. So it's a really cool story. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed season 1. There are 2 seasons. And along the journey, we see where Will is this bundle of joy. He's this well-meaning kid, because that's who Mary, Gus, and Blood raised him to be, right? It's essentially a story of family and about a kid striking out on his own to go live his life, right? Whichever path he chooses. We also see him struggle along the way. And it's always good to have his friends. Another one of his friends that he meets is named B. I don't remember her full name, but it's B for short. She's a traveling bard, and she sings songs and tales of heroes long gone. That's her job, and she takes money for it. Another person he meets along the way is Tonio. Tonio is a traveling merchant along with B, and together they try to make as much money as they can. Next, there's Raystoff and a whole bunch of other adventurers. He hires them to save a village on the outskirts that is being constantly attacked by demons, and it's up to them to save the day. And that's how season 1 ends. And he struggles with all of this because he's constantly trying to do the right thing, but he's also trying to hold himself back because he knows how powerful he is because of who he was trained by, who he was raised by. But at the same time, he's trying not to let all that go to his head. He's trying to be humble like a priest. He's trying to do all of this because he's trying to live not only to his religion, but he's trying to remember everything that the three taught him. So that's season 1. Now, I have to say, and I'm not going to really talk about it as much, but I wasn't really into season 2. Season 2 picks up where season 1 left off, which is you have Will, who is a paladin, a faraway paladin. He is very powerful. He's got his own town now, along with Meadow and some of the others. They helped put the villages back together and basically made a society, and they made a nation. But I will say that I didn't like season 2 because it focused I think it got away from the story of Will, and it focused on the dwarves. Now, season 2 reminded me of The Hobbit with Thorin and the others, because this one was about dwarves, this season 2, and it's called The Faraway Paladin, the Lord of the Rusted Mountains, right? And basically, it's kind of like, honestly, it is kind of like the Hobbit movies, because you have the dwarves who have left their mountain, they've left their home because there is a dragon inside who once fought with the gods. He's a mercenary, and he once fought with the gods, and he's a powerful dragon, one of the last remaining dragons in the world. And basically he stays there, and their king sacrifices himself. I mean, like, it's a whole story. I'm not going to get into it. But it really kind of took me out of it. I mean, it was still cool nonetheless, but I really wish they would have focused more on Will or some of the other characters instead of them being supported roles. We got some backstory with Meadow, but at the same time, I just wish there would have been, a little bit more substance there. So season 2 didn't really do it for me, but season 1, I loved it. The Faraway Paladin, it is on Crunchyroll if you're interested in watching it. I highly recommend it. It was really cool, really fun. And hey, if you're looking for something to just kind of watch, have an adventure, and even turn your brain off a little bit, that's the one for you. So anyway, just remember, it's called The Faraway Paladin, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So next time, we're going to talk about an anime that I just finished on Sunday. It just wrapped up, called The Unaware Atelier Meister. We've talked about it before. I've done a first impression on it. We've talked about it before, but this time I want to talk about the whole series with you guys. I want to review it, and I want to see if you guys might like it. So anyway, guys, that's enough out of me. I've ranted enough for today. And before we go, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when I make another video. Leave a comment down below. Have you seen The Faraway Paladin? Did you like it? What were your thoughts? Or if you didn't like it, why not? And are you interested in it? Maybe is it something that you could get into? Yeah. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Remember, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go make it an anime day. And I will see you in the dojo in the next video. Bye.